was written on November the 26th, 2009 at Thanksgiving. Penny had decided this year that we would try to think of all the good things that we could remember about Beth and honor her at our Thanksgiving dinner after we had eaten. So this is a little bit late about coming, but it was very good for all of us. There were tears, but they were tears of joy this time. Daddy had something to say, and it was very meaningful to all of us. And Rob also had a few things to say. And I was impressed by what Randy said, that he had two families and that we were also part of his family. I can't remember at this moment exactly what all the others said, but it was good and we enjoyed it, and it took a few minutes. But I wanted to read this, what Penny had written, because it was so good. So this is by Penny. Imagine, if you will, 3 kids, 9, 11, 14, battle number who knows what, bored as usual, Bob and Sue at work, fight location center around the dining room table, which is where the kitchen is now, Beth and Penny versus Rob, who had agitated and aggravated until someone, probably me, came up with a brilliant idea. Beth and I decided to get a rope and tie it around Woody's ankles. That's what we called him back then, Woody. We then stood him up, and every time he said a word, the rope would be yanked and down he would go. Okay, it was cruel, but we did not stop after he started crying. But we did stop after he started crying and before any serious injury was caused. You have to remember that there was only one rotary phone, 3 channels to watch on TV, and Tim's tape recordings of the Bionic Woman. Who could blame us? I then remember when Beth got to start dating and what an exciting time it was. I would sit and watch her get ready and think how beautiful she was and how I wished that I could be her. Never told her that. During the preparation period, I would begin my begging and pleading of if only I could go, how I would sit in the back of the car and never utter a word, nor would I embarrass her in any way. No, 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 no. So then the date would arrive, and Rob and I would steal in close by. Picture the date. Sitting politely on the couch for at least 30 minutes to an hour because Beth was famous for being late, and Rob and I would begin our torture. Over time, I even began to get brave enough to ask the date themselves if I could go. Most would just smile, but some would say, I don't care, but oh no, Beth would put a stop to that. No, I was to be stuck at home with Rob, Atari guy, and 3 channels and 1 rotary phone with no long distance, by the way. As life moved on, Pete and Randy came along, and the 4 of us spent a great deal of time together. Beth and I usually would cook dinner for either Friday or Saturday night, and we were happy. Beth was beautiful in her 20s. I remember thinking that she was one of the most natural and perfect-looking people I ever saw of a morning. Smooth olive skin and long brown hair, dark brown hair, and eyes along with a big, beautiful smile. Kirsten came along right after Granny died and filled a huge void in the lives of 3 women, me, Mother, and Kirsten. It was a time of learning for me as I watched my sister become a wife and mother, and I began to want the same things for myself. I remember thinking that in some way I had lost my sister when she became a mother because she was different in a way that I didn't understand. I watched and learned that I wanted the same thing for myself. The cake shop was a great time in our life, and I got to spend some wonderful times with the most important women in my life. I will never forget that one morning Beth and I started at 5 o'clock decorating cakes and were exhausted at the end of the day. Those times alone, though, we discussed so many things and giggled a lot about different things that only she and I would understand. We also could be together and we didn't have to talk, but were satisfied just knowing that the other one was there. She gave me much strength during the stress of the business. One, after I threw a great fit, she said, "You need some medication," and it stopped me dead in my tracks. I did need some, and it helped tremendously. There are just a few of my memories, nothing spectacular, but they are mine. Some of the happy times have faded, and some vague in my memory, but so, too, the sad. Someone asked me not long ago if I ever talked to Beth, and I said no. Why, well, I sort of have been afraid to because I didn't want her to worry about us. I just want her to be happy, I said. I know that Georgia Beth, the baby to come for Kirsten, has been sent to help us heal and move on along just as Kirsten was. I know that Beth is smiling at us now, and probably knowing her, she has had a few good laughs at the struggles Rob and I have faced. The last real conversation I remember with her was the day she called me to tell me how beautiful her tree was for the second time. That was the first time in a number of years that Beth had had her own tree. And she had all white and gold on her tree with a lot of angels because Beth believed in angels. I said, "Beth, you have already told me that." And she said, "I don't give a damn. I'm telling you again." And we both laughed. And I just really enjoyed reading this paper again. And so I hope for years to come that you'll have this and remember that good